3 Nigeriainfo. I'm Sam Oracle Chinedu. Our first conversation begins now. My guest is a professor of politics and governance at Ignatius Ajuri University of Education. He also was a commissioner in RISIEC. That's Professor Ken Weke. Good morning, Professor Weke. Thank you for joining us. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good. Good morning. The oracle, the oracle, the oracle, the oracle, and the cow. Oracle.
Thank you, sir, for making the time. All right, so there's a lot to unpack today. This exercise is meant to be important for political, well, I might say democratic reasons. There are lots of perspectives. I know that I don't want to get into that part of the conversation. But let's look at democracy and grassroots governance. The local government is closest to the people, but oftentimes, matter of fact, in Nigeria, most times, it is the least visible. Now, through our democracy and how we have evolved, what role have the local governments played so far? I know we are not where we're supposed to be, but by your assessment, how far have we come?
We are still very far. Very far. Very, very far. In fact, you say we are very far. It's whether will I say with a statement or statement. You can combine them, and take the one you want to take. So, but the local government system now in Nigeria, okay, is something that exists on paper because there is a constitutional provision or there are constitutional provisions, and probably just feeling unrighteousness. And the only thing I can remember sometimes is that there are people on the payroll of local government councils.
Okay.
And then it serves as a means, of dispensing political patronage
Okay.
to those who political patronage is full stop. So, and probably to that extent, the people benefit. Those who are associated politically with each other get to enjoy the things that come from the top there at that time, at each time. And after that, maybe that's when they feel that this is their time to shine. It's time to shine. And so, just like it's a time to shine now. And just also like it was a time to shine in the last October. Just also, before then, maybe 3.5 years behind or more, or about 4, it was also a time for other set of people. Like that is like a cycle. And so that's what can, for anybody to remember vividly and tell themselves the truth about the local government system in Nigeria. It is not peculiar to a particular state. It is common. Oracle, let me give you a typical example, comparing it with what happens outside Nigeria.
Mm.
And I remember also when I was when I was delivering a paper during the last, one of the last, I call it the defunct council, incoming council, the defunct council executives, including the legislature. And I tried to make a comparison between what obtains in Nigeria and what we find at democracies. And I remember vividly somebody, a senior government official, that mentioned his name, tried to, draw my attention to say, why would I inherit that I was immediately compare that what we need to compare was River State in Imo State and Niger State. And we want to compare what obtains in advanced democracy. And I looked at him. Unfortunately, the person who was talking, the senior government official, proved a PhD, whatever field, and would have been in a position to understand that we have something, a model that we are copying after, and that there's nothing wrong, academically speaking, to compare what obtains here with other advanced democracies. I looked at him and I said, unfortunately, it probably led us into public service, and maybe that has overtaken his, thinking direction, so to say, and that he could say this because it's overwhelming. For me, there's no issue joining. So if he was to be my student, then he would understand better.
Okay.
But, and I said clearly, what obtains in advanced democracies, this was in the UK, and the friends had moved from one job to another severally. And finally, he landed now into the local government system. And he says to me, Prof, this has been my dream job. And I said, come on, can you hold it there? He had worked in the university as a non-teaching staff. He had worked several organizations, but that his dream was to work in the local government system. And I asked him why. Because that's not what in Nigeria.
Yeah.
As I seated there, I know why I'm saying this here this morning.
Yeah.
If you go to the dream of any Nigerian to wish to be a local government staff because of what the local government system is in Nigeria. But those who work as local government staff only work because that's the only thing available to them today. Probably if they have a choice to make, they would want to upgrade input.
Yeah.
But is that what it ought to be? And so my friend was happy. What? He said the local government system was very, consistent, and it's very consistent, and the local government system, provides him the opportunity to meet with the local politicians within the area who are influenced in the UK. So the local system here is about the local, politics and the local governance and meeting people who he thinks are the major drivers within the localities or the council areas. And then, of course, the other piece of it, it gives you opportunities, you have, you can do remote jobs and all that because we have a family and probably just try to maybe be at home, care for kids while still working and all that, and all that, and all that. And that the pay is also very reasonable with, increase the pension or whatever that when he retires and all that, so much compared to others. I know why I'm giving this and I'm taking time to lay this foundation. It is talking about the local councils, what obtains. I'm giving you a typical example in the UK. And so also in Australia. These are personal experiences, personal observations I've made about local councils and what they provide, and why they have become so important in the value chain of politics and governance of a typical, advanced, democracy anywhere in the world.
Okay, Prof. Let's put a pin on that, and I'll have to take a break for a bit. But very quickly, hopefully, you can answer this. While I am not making excuses for where we are as a nation and a people, I also have to come to terms with the reality that sometimes comparing Nigeria to these developed societies, like we like to do, has the clear vacuum of time that has elapsed. A lot of times, people compare Nigeria to a society that has practiced democracy for around or over 200 years. And while I know that that might not be an excuse, you have to consider the difference in time. So if a country has been doing it for over 200 years, and you have yours that is just a little around the corridors of 50, 60, you kind of have to make excuses for the lapses. Do you consider that a valid point?
Oracle. You see, we try to give excuses, and that's the same thing. That's the same reason the senior government official, put forward. And he wants me to compare, or he wanted me to compare Rivers State with Abia and Imo State, for goodness sake. And that's the best brain to carry. Because of the mentality of our people. And that's why we have remained where we, if you check this on a daily basis, if you go to passport office in the state and across Nigeria, you will find a lot of people either remain or making fresh passports because, democracy in Nigeria is not working as it's ought to work. And yet,